Shit. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? I'm Lili, content marketeer at Peripass. Could you guys please confirm if you can hear and see us clearly by posting in the chat? Excellent. My co-host is joining the meeting too. Ja, geen sound, hè? No sound?
No sound, I think.
Okay, perfect. Ik zie u wel. I can see you in the meeting.
So maybe I'm joining as the guest.
Yes.
And not as a co-host. Funny. That starts well.
Well, yes. I have a different... I have a guest speaker link for you normally.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That's
I'm sorry,
wonderful start of the session.
Otherwise, you can also share on my screen. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can try.
Okay. So, you open the thing?
Yeah.
All right. Now, after this little hiccup, we are here again today for the second Quickstart webinar. And everyone has seen the chat now, but you also see normally a questions tab at the bottom of your screen. Please use the questions tab for any questions that you have during the session that you want to see answered during the Q&A. So this way, all of the questions are nicely collected together and it will be easier to answer all of the questions. Otherwise, we might miss it. All right. Now, like I said, I'm Lili, content marketeer, and this is my guest, Matti Desmet. Matti, can you please introduce yourself?
Nice to be here.
Explain what you do here at Peripass.
Yes, I'm a product director at Peripass, which means together with the product team, we are working hard day in, day out to make sure that we can bring the best yard management experience to all of our customers in Europe mainly, but also more and more outside of Europe, beyond the borders of Europe as well.
Perfect. And part of that yard management solution and being the best at it is our new Quickstart offering. Why did we create the Quickstart?
Actually, it's a process that took a while to grow within the company, and it all started with we did the typical enterprise approach. We have enterprise customers buying a yard management system. They want to do it decently, so that means projects take 3 to 6 months to roll out, to go live, to include all the change management. But we had more than one occasion where a customer, for example, the last one I remember was Kellogg. Mid-project, the volume at site increased that fast that they were like, this is not manageable anymore. We need a solution yesterday rather than tomorrow. So they put a very high pressure on the implementation teams and they asked us, what can you do like as quick as possible?
Yep.
And the teams really reacted flexible on that, and they implemented a solution within 2 weeks to already go live with like 80% of the Peripass solutions, not 100%, but with 80%. And they learned that heavily reduced the workload and the pressure on the site. We had a similar occasion with Bridgestone, where there it was because their existing system started failing mid-project. Not us. Not us. It was our goal was to replace their existing systems because they know they had to replace it because it was not working properly anymore. But like mid-project, more and more issues started happening, and they also needed an urgent replacement. And again, in 2 weeks, we got to very, very good results, and we learned from that. Why don't we do this always? Because we had very good experiences where in 2 weeks, you get much more return on investment. And we also learned change management went smoother afterwards.
Okay.
So that's why we now advise our customers to start with this immediately.
Yeah. So the Quickstart offering solves 2 of the main things that tend to slow down the bigger enterprise projects.
Yeah. So once we decided, okay, we want to advise everybody to do this because we saw the benefits. We also started investigating with the product team what are now the main reasons why it takes 3 months. And actually, we found 2 main issues. First of all, implementing a yard management system has a lot of IT impact, and it also has a lot of infrastructure impact. So we deliberately designed a solution which has as least impact as possible on IT and which has as least impact as possible on infrastructure to make sure that these do not create dependencies within your project and that you can get to the first results without IT, without infrastructure.
Okay.
The way how we do that is with actually two solutions. One of it is the mobile driver portal. Our mobile driver portal is a mobile application that you can use to do the registrations. Yeah. So customers or people that have seen Peripass around, we're probably known for the kiosks. If you enter a site, you see the big kiosks. And actually, we now have a solution where you can just close your desk, hang a QR code on top of it, drivers scan it, no hardware needed, you just scan it and you continue with it.
Full mobile registration.
Full mobile registration, which heavily reduces the infrastructure needs.
Yes.
Second solution is, we realized as well that every now and then some drivers don't want to use their own mobile phones. So there you still need a kiosk. And then we can just rent one to you. Okay. Which means we put it in a box, we ship it to you. When it arrives, you plug it in the current, and there you go. You can start using it boots, it starts up, and you can start using the kiosk.
Amazing. And that's the registration hardware slowing down part of it. I know that another part is, of course, the working with the teams of customers, especially like the IT teams, tend to be already overloaded, and the Quickstart also helps with that, right?
Yeah. So we've set up a system where we avoid integrations in the first phase. We understand that maybe in the future you want these integrations because they help you a lot, but we make sure that you can start without the integrations to also not have the dependency on the IT teams and to give the IT teams a bit more time to investigate the integrations. Second of all, we also noticed that there is this tendency where people don't like change management. And because they don't like change management, they want to do it all at once. Yeah. And I typically start comparing it with learning to swim. Okay. So if you're learning to swim and you're like afraid of the water, the solution is not to start having a lot of workshops outside of the water to learn a lot of theory on how you need to swim. The best solution is to get in the water as soon as possible, and then you learn it's not that bad, and you can learn from there. So that's what we advise our customers as well with the Quickstart. It's like, start small, get into the water as soon as possible. Don't be afraid of fixing everything until the end, because you make much more fuzz about it, and people will start like, they're now talking for 6 months about a yard management, what would it be? And they get afraid of it. While instead, start with only one flow, start with something very simple. Your teams will get used to it. They will understand, okay, it really helps me. It's super interesting and super beneficial for me to use on a daily basis. And they will be the ones asking you to implement the other flows, which will turn upside down the whole change management approach.
Get in the shallow end of the pool before you start crawling.
Of course. First, the kiddie pool.
The kiddie pool,
is it, right?
All right, so now we know that this is one of the ways in which the Quickstart sets itself apart. But are there other things that make it like a unique offering, especially when comparing to competitors, for example?
I think we briefly touched it, but I've seen personally this trend in yards. I think 5 years ago, not a lot of yard managements. They were more like Excels being boosted a bit in the tool. But there has been evolutions in yard management in the last couple of years, and kiosks are now more common. And we see a trend where more and more competitors are really pushing mobile registrations. However, we believe that this is kind of not completely honest, because the thing with mobile registrations is that's interesting for recurring drivers, people that come often to your site, that know the systems, that are comfortable with that. But we did quite some UX research, and we learned that depending on the situation, 20 to 40%, and 40, that's a lot, of the drivers refuse to use their mobile phone, or are not capable of using their mobile phone, or are not willing to use 4G of their own for some for some business reasons,
Yeah.
or they have two phones, like one of their own and then the one of their job, but that's a Nokia or whatever old thing, and they don't use a smartphone for their job. And for all these reasons, we believe that it's still smart to use a physical kiosk as well next to the mobile, or the smartphone registrations. And what makes us unique there is that we have this rental solution where you do not have to invest upfront in a lot of money in buying these kiosks, but you can just very cheaply rent one, try it out, see how it works on your side, maybe wait for some infrastructure works, and meanwhile get the benefits. And only after 2 years, once your infrastructure is ready, buy the final kiosks.
So first you start experiencing the product, you start seeing the benefits, the value, and then you see, okay, we want to continue, we want to move on to the next, those last 20%, like you said.
Exactly.
All right.
I think there is one other thing that sets us apart. That is, we have the classic yard management as we all know it, and we have now these more emerging Quickstart, very simple, get to 80% of the value as soon as possible solutions. And there are a lot of there are new players around the block that try to do only this and do it like in a more refreshing way.
Yeah.
I think what sets us apart is that we offer both.
Yeah.
You can start very small, but underneath the hood of Peripass is still the same full engine that is used by big customers like Saint-Gobain, like ArcelorMittal, like Lidl.
Yeah.
These are the very heavy, or our engine can still serve for all the heavy ones.
Yeah.
So we're quite sure that we can grow together with you, and it's not because you don't start with the full Monty that you cannot grow towards a full Monty.
So customers who start with a Quickstart can build upon that base that they are used to at that point and like to use, and you don't have to start from scratch all over again when they say like, okay, we want to expand on Peripass.
Yes.
Awesome. So I know we already have some customers who use the Quickstart. Do you know what their experiences have been like?
Yes, I definitely know. So I think I'll think of one of the recent ones. VF Europe went live quite recently, and they were super happy. They mainly sit so. The biggest benefit on their site was that they're now able to ship day and night. So previously, shipping at night was like a big hassle because you need a lot of employees. You need them to work shifts 24/7. It's a lot of management.
It's expensive too.
It's expensive. So now they with Peripass, this goes way more automated, and it's way easier to facilitate that. Second thing they mentioned was that the configurability of Peripass is also one of the key benefits. They said it takes some time to understand how the tool works, to get used to it. And if you know that they went live in 2 weeks, it takes some time, it's relative. But once they're used to it, so like it's super easy to adapt after 2 weeks. They had some learnings and like, hey, we want to do small thing a little bit different. They just configured it, they changed configurations themselves, and on their word. That's not a word, I think. No. They were set for success.
Yes. And I'm going to tell the people right now that we have a video on the experiences of VF Europe on our YouTube channel. So if you want to hear them talking about it, you can always go find it there. But we also have another customer, Flowers, who uses the Quickstarts, and they have a lot of seasonality, I understand. So the Quickstart was a benefit there.
Their main benefit and what they loved about it was the sense of control. Like before, it was chaos on the site. It was they didn't know where to go first. And during peak season, normally during normal seasons it's okay, but during peak season it's like chaos all over the place. And now even during peak season, they still had this sense of control and visibility on what's going on, and they really loved that.
Okay, that is great. So now we're going to do the demo, but since you couldn't get in the meeting for some reason, we should do it on my computer. I'm going to close a bunch of my tabs. I think like everyone else, I have a million tabs open at all times. There you go. So you can use my computer. Maybe we should switch
positions?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So always a little bit exciting when we do it live.
Yeah.
So first we have to share the screen, I think.
Maybe you should set the demo environment ready? No? First?
Yes, I can.
Otherwise they see us a million times.
Yeah. So bear with us.
Oh yeah, I have a different.
We'll go.
You need to see it?
Yeah. I was fully prepared on my own laptop.
We have a little technical thing by getting Matti into the meeting, so 1 second, guys. Is that?
Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
Oh. Yep.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
in.
Now you can share the screen. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
So if all goes well, you can see my screen.
Yeah, I'll open it for you. This one. There we go.
Okay. So, what are the, I'll just have my notes on the other side. It will help me like focus. Yes. So, what we have with the Quickstart is, part of what of how we approach this as well is the fact that we provide templates.
Yeah.
So we've now, I think, rolled out 200 plus sites, and we've bundled all of the best practices from all these sites.
Okay.
And we've put them in templates that you can use. This also avoids these very long workshops because you can tell your team, look, we're going to start with the best practice of Peripass. And after 3 months, we'll learn what works for us, what does not work for us, and then we'll adapt. But then you'll only talk about the things that didn't work for you instead of talking about everything.
Yeah,
so that's part of the templates. What you can do as well is you can ask for, or you can request free trial on our website to just try it out yourself and see how Peripass looks and how Peripass works, and maybe share it with some colleagues. So what I will share you now, or what you already see on my screen, is what you will get if you do this free trial.
Yeah.
So maybe first to familiarize yourself a little bit with Peripass. Peripass has a different menus on the left. So the visitors, this is the overview of all your transports for today. The dispatching, this is where your visual overview of your yard happens. So it's a schematic overview here.
And this is fully customizable to your own yard, of course.
100% customizable. We've put, there is no much templating there because yards differ too. So this is more of an example than a template. Our beautiful yard with 10 ducks. And then, of course, you have all of the configuration where you can change and adapt. Once you request a free trial, you will get some documentation on how to use and configure the things yourself. So part of the configuration will also be the kiosk. And this is then the third thing I need to show you. No, not that one. So this is the kiosk, and this is the mobile one.
I'm just going to check for a second. Yeah, they can see. Yeah, because you shared just the window, so I wasn't fully sure if we only had one tab or not.
I did it well.
Perfect.
So now immediately let's start here. I'll make the screen a bit smaller so it resembles more how it will look on your phone.
Yeah, that's more like a mobile view.
So you can send this URL to your colleagues to just showcase. But in the end, this is the URL that you will send to drivers, or that you will create a QR out of that you hang in the entry office. First step is to choose your language. I think most people will understand English, so that's the language we're using today. And then the next step is to choose your what you're here to do. As for an example, I will just come here to do my unloading. I have to fill in a reference, let me just pick a random number today. And then I go through the full registration process. All of the questions, all of the steps in this registration process are 100% customizable.
Yeah.
Again, what we're seeing here is the template.
An example.
But the template with the best practices, asking for a phone number makes totally sense.
Essential, actually.
It's quite essential or useful as well.
Yeah.
So sharing my personal phone number with everybody in a webinar.
I see that they check if it's a real one.
Yes, exactly. You can go further and do even like some more verifications there to check, like send them a code, and then they have to fill in the code to be sure that they're sending using their own phone number. If you want to go that far, then as a carrier, I will take XPO for now. We can ask for license plates. Here you see again the value of these templates of ours. There is a difference between your truck license plate and your trailer license plate, and like a simple image goes more than many words.
Yeah.
I'll just give some random things, and we also have safety briefings.
Can also be customized, of course.
These are more typically adapted because the speed limit on every site can be different. You do have to accept though, to make sure that you're legally compliant and that you know that you've accepted this. And actually that's it. So now we've completed our registration on our kiosk.
All right.
And we go back to our
visitor
lists. And you've seen that I've prepared the demo. So I already have one visitor this morning that finished my whole process. I have a second one that now just registered, which was my 1212 number. Yeah. The E stands for inbound. You can also configure how this looks to give you more of a hint on whether it's inbound or outbound.
All right.
Next step is I need to approve this one to make sure, like, do I want to accept this person here today? So I'll maybe a little bit quick. There's this blue button on the top, and this will indicate you which drivers have registered but haven't been approved by you yet.
Okay, so you have that final control.
You have final control. What you could do as well is you could, this is now not what I've demoed today, but you could also upload an Excel, and then there is like automatically approval, because if 1212 was uploaded this morning and we expect 1212 here today, then there is no need anymore to check and approve.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now that we have approved, we've switched to a next status, which is waiting dispatch. And then we go to this digital twin. And on the digital twin, previously we focused on like the yard itself with the green squares, which stand for all kinds of docks or gates on your yard.
Or even parking spots.
Whatever you make out of it. But on the left, we see now that there is a card appearing, and this card is showing the driver that's ready to be dispatched, and it's waiting for your action. And dispatching is quite simple now. You can just drag and drop and tell them, hey, you have to go to parking number P2. And there we go. He's now on P2. And if all goes well, I will get a text message. So I'm not sure how good this will be readable. I'll do a bit like this, and we hope people can read it. If not, then
you can read it out loud.
Then you have to trust me. So the message says, "We are ready for you. Please go to location P2." So there we see that our transport is being dispatched. If everything is finished, loading is done, an operator or someone in the team can mark them as finished yard operation, which will then clear the yard again and make room for some new transports.
Yeah. So as the driver leaves, you know this one is available. The next one can go there.
Yeah. Great. And maybe last but not least, we have a full audit trail with all details on what happened.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we know perfectly when was the registration process started. Very interesting if you want to know from SLA point of view, if there is discussions afterwards on drivers that told you, yeah, I was here on time, but you didn't dispatch me. But maybe they were there, but they were just sleeping in their cabin and they never registered.
Yeah.
well, then there is no excuse anymore with Peripass.
You can easily disprove these claims.
Yeah, and same for when I did the actual dispatching.
Yeah.
All details are stored over here.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell. I haven't touched any configuration on the free trial. So I just started
this
using
is just standard settings.
This is what you get.
Okay.
10 minutes after requesting a free trial.
Thank you for that demo. I'm gonna switch places
Yes.
with you again so I can access my computer. I will stop sharing the screen and move back to our main screen. Oh, Martine says she cannot see. Oh, that's really strange, Martine. I'm sorry, I didn't see that you didn't have connection. We will send you the recording, so then hopefully you can just see the screen recording and you can see the demo that way. Now we have moved on, or we have arrived at our Q&A, live Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, if you want some clarification on some things, now is the time to ask your questions. I see there's no questions in the chat already. So if anyone has any questions, we can answer them now. Except for Martine, who unfortunately did not see.
Sorry, Martine.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Feel free to send some emails as well.
Of course.
If you have.
And I will personally email you with the recording. Jessie asks, is it possible to add an ID scan to register a driver?
Yes, that's possible. So that's not part of what we advise for Quickstart. Again, because that starts with the hardware, it becomes more complex.
Yeah.
But we do ID scans as part of it.
You can actually see in the kiosk in the back. That's one that has an ID scanner, but not on the Quickstart kiosks.
No. Although we work as well, apart from ID scan, we also work on phone verification. So we can verify your phone. These days, everybody with a phone number needs to, in Europe at least, needs to link their phone number to their personal identity as well. Yeah. So when it comes to identity control, a phone number actually has a lot of value as well. Okay. And we've noticed that it's like when you go to the airport, ID scans work in 90% of the times, but every now and then you see somebody going to the officer for help. So that's why, since we really focus with our company on like going as much automated as possible and having as least manual processes, we also are like the phone verification as an alternative, but heavily depends on your own industry and what requirements you have. Yeah,
and if the ID scan is essential for your company, then probably not the Quickstart, but talk to someone from Peripass and they will help you get the right, because we do offer it, just not in the Quickstart.
Yep.
Okay. Frederick asks in his first question, how can we manage subcontractors in this registration process?
So typically we use references as the key identifier of a transport. So we do not expect you to upfront register the driver who's arriving. We expect you to upfront know which is my transport reference, my shipment reference, my slot booking number, my SAP number, whatever number you have. And just like when you do it manually now, your subcontractor will come to the desk. They will show the papers. They will tell them, I'm here to do X, Y, or Z. And we ask the same on the kiosk. We ask the subcontractor, what are you here to do? And by checking these references, rather than the driver's name, we were able to cover for all the last minute changes with subcontractors, because that happens a lot in logistics.
Yeah, because it's less identity based and more
less identity based. Itself. And the identity, if identity is still important for you on your site, you can still check like the identity on the spot.
Okay.
But that doesn't need to be pre-registered or pre-checked.
Okay. Donnie asks, in the example you showed us, do we need a kiosk or can we start with just a QR code?
You can perfectly start with the QR code. We just wanted to be honest with you. If you aim for 100% automation, so if you now have 3 guards at the entrance and you want to put them to more meaningful work rather than just doing reception work, then you're not going to be able to go to 0 because there will still be drivers that need there. It is possible though to go from 3 to only 1 because 60% of the flow will be replaced by the QR code.
Yeah, because technically the QR code can cover everything, but if people refuse or can't or won't scan the code for whatever reason, either they don't have a smartphone, they don't want to use it for work purposes because it's their personal one. Sometimes we see like Russian drivers who don't have like roaming and they don't want to put their internet on, then a kiosk helps to
it's a backup for
solve
these
that
cases.
problem. Yeah,
exactly.
We have a next question from Frederic. Can we also import a slot planning and status from a WMS with the Quickstart?
Yeah, that's perfectly possible.
Yeah.
So since we do not do integrations with the Quickstart, so it happens a lot, integrations with slot booking, integrations with WMS systems, but that's also part of what slows things down, which is why in the Quickstart, in the first step, we just use Excel uploads, but we learned that like once a day, doing a download of what's happening tomorrow and uploading it, that's maybe once a day, 3 minutes of work, and that already creates a lot of benefits for your a lot of benefits in the short run while you can be working on those integrations.
Yeah, but it can be done.
And Excel import is perfectly possible.
All right. Another question from Jesse. Is it possible to create a blacklist who are unwanted on our site due to not behaving according to our guidelines?
Yes. That's a common use case as well. That's not the first time you hear this. So we do have a blacklist option. And like mentioned before, so the main identification is not about the driver, but is about the transport. So you'll register with your reference. But if you want to use blacklists, then we can use these passport scanners or the phone verifications. And based on phone number or passport ID, we can add a blacklist to the systems where you can refuse drivers based on that list.
Great. And another question by Frederic. With the Quickstart, can you connect as well to shipment real-time visibility systems?
So connecting to shipment real-time visibilities is definitely possible. So that's been done before as well. But again, not part of the Quickstart because that would mean an integration. And Quickstart, we try to avoid integrations with the Quickstart because before you know, you're 3 months in, and that's not the point. The point is going live in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, maybe a month, and work on these real-time visibility in the second phase.
Yeah, in the next phase. All right, we have no more questions in the questions tab. I am just going to see, oh, wrong tab. Okay, we have no more questions. So unless someone has a question now and asks it now, we are going to wrap up this webinar.
Maybe while waiting for possibly last question. So if you're eager to know how much all of this costs, that's now all fully available on our website as well. So if you go to...
What does it cost? Was the question. Hey.
Nice one, Jesse. Thank you very much. So it's all available on our website. If you go to peripass.com/pricing, you can find then Quickstart starts from 1,300 euros a month, or maybe 400. Not 100% sure.
The internet's really slow. I see. There it is. Pricing.
It's not good that I don't know this by heart.
No, honestly, same. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Sorry.
It's $12.99.
So 1,299. I was close.
Very close.
So that's where we start from Quickstart point of view.
Yeah.
Of course, it depends a bit on how much kiosks you rent as well. That's why we mentioned that's where you start.
Yes. All right. I think that's it for the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending our live webinar. We will be sending you the recording. I have checked that it is recording this time. I'm so sorry again to the people who were also here last month. And we will hopefully see you soon in one of our next webinars. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.